My name's Rose Crisp, and I work at Red Hat. I love Boston, love this energy here, so I'm just going to jump in. So on our team, we create AI chatbots. That's what we do on our team. And then we use Helm. It's a deployment package for deployment, which sounds like it's pretty straightforward. You go into a repo, and it has this README file, and then you just, you can use makefile to deploy. Great, no problem. But there's a catch. Oh, somebody want to come in. You didn't miss anything. It's good. Okay, come on in. Okay. So there's a catch. Well, the instructions are written very well, but the process requires a very steep knowledge of technologies such as Kubernetes, Git, Helm, things like that. So for a developer who just want to try out a new idea, or for someone who wants to innovate from a solution, this complex problem, it's a significant barrier. How many times have we seen innovation stifled because of deployment issues? Well, it happens way too often. So today, I want to talk about a solution that removes the roadblock. So then the developers can do what they do best, which is developing software. So on one hand, you've got the old way of doing things, and this tangled, messy way of manual steps, endless team handoffs, and the configuration headaches that could literally take weeks. And on the other hand, you have a fully automated self-service flow that gets the entire job done in no time. I mean, the difference is staggering. But how is this even possible? That is the big question we're going to answer. How in the world do you take weeks of complex, error-prone work and shrink it down to less time than to make a pot of coffee? Well, the answer is surprisingly elegant. To really appreciate the solution, we first have to understand the problem. Deploying a RAG chatbot is a very complex process. You've got this high-performance GPU, we heard it at the speaker note today, GPU clusters, well, GPU Kubernetes clusters that AI needs just to talk to it. The application itself includes tools like DLLM to run the model, pgvector for search information efficiently, and data ingestion, we're using OpenShift AI. User interface is built on Streamlit, and the overall AI application build, we use something called Llama Stack. And then there's this whole process of what a lot of teams do is they call it the GitOps approach. And that is where you separate the application source from the deployment configuration. Just coordinating all these pieces, getting all the teams on the same page, well, that's a recipe for delay. So how do you solve it? You build an automated workflow that takes all these complicated manual steps and just standardize them into a single, repeatable process that just works. Let's see how this workflow is built. So it's built on a core component of Developer Hub called the software templates. And Developer Hub is an enterprise distribution of the CNFC project Backstage. So now I need my volunteers to stand up and put their cards up, and I'm going to talk through it. Okay, and maybe you can come up here. That'll be nice. Because people can see, like, what you present. Okay. So what I'm, okay. So today's automation, well,
there's no speakers, so.
Hello? Okay, I'm pretty loud anyways.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got the signal for the recording. Okay.
Okay. I'm pretty loud, so it's okay. Okay. So the automation that we're talking about today of software templates. This one here.
Can you move everyone over to the camera view?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so software template is what we're talking about today. He's the smart guy in the room. Okay, so the software template can talk to all these other pillars in Backstage. And one of the pillars is documentation, plugins, software catalogs, and APIs. Documentation, plugins are something that it can connect to third-party software, or it can write an action. So it's something, it's a component, it's a service. Let's call it a service. Catalog software is the place where you can go in and know what components are there. For example, in software catalog, you can see plugins, you can see documentation, and you can see APIs. So you are the catalog for that. In the workflow, the software template can talk to each one of them by ways of YAML file. So if I want to create a piece of software, I can say, what is this software going to do? It's going to deploy an application, but I need a repository created. Then I talk to the plugin, and the plugin would have GitLab, GitHub, which those are like source control, source control. And so I can say, hey plugin, I want to talk to GitLab. Then I want to connect with you. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to deploy my application on Argo CD. Argo CD is a deployment application, and this plugin would have that Argo CD built in, and then so the software can talk to it. And now my software template says, well, I want the whole world to see what my software does, and I have a bunch of documentations. And in that case, the software can talk to the documentation. And then the next thing is, okay, I have an API for my software, and then the software template can write some YAML code and can call the API. And at the end of the day, I want my piece of software to be open to all the people in my organization. So I write some code, and now, boom, the software is added to the software catalog. So if you get something out of this class, it's this. The software template can talk to all the other pillars in the developer hub or Backstage for the upstream. Okay, thank you. Any questions from that, or is it okay? Yeah, and you can ask questions anytime. So that's what the software template does. And okay. So this is where the magic happens. The developer fills out a form, and the form is created by the software template. We give the application's name, we give it a description, and then on the left-hand side, the actions that are part of the plugin, it explodes into creating new Git repositories, customizing complex deployments, and filling out documentations. And all that is triggered by two simple fields. It's kind of wild, isn't it? So what's really going on under the hood? Well, there are two key parts to this magic. First is defining the form, and then it collects all the users' input data, and then the second, defining the actions that do the work. So let's start with the form. The entire interface you see built on the left-hand side, it's outputted into the user input on the right-hand side. If you look at the code under properties, you've got the title and the type, description, and effectively, when the software template runs, the only thing the developers see is this input window right here. And what's really cool is that it uses so what's really cool is using the standard called JSON schema. This is JSON schema, and also there is a UI schema for like styling and stuff like that. So that's how the backend works. Okay, so once the developer fills out that form that the software template creates, then the step starts happening. So the first thing to do is the template automatically fetches source. And this is the actual code, that's the configuration that you would use to fetch code. In this case, we're fetching another repository.
Sorry, excuse me, Brownie.
So under input, you would list out all these things. And there are two types of action. There's the action that comes with Backstage, and there are action that are provided by external plugins. For example, with Argo CD, it would be an action that you would add on to your Backstage or Developer Hub. I'm speaking those terms interchangeably because, as I said, Developer Hub is an enterprise distribution of Backstage. So after you fetch the source, there's a little tool that you can use. It's pretty cool. You can clean up all the source codes that you don't need. And then we're fetching another part of the source, which this is for deployment. So we want to separate. Remember I said for GitOps, you want to separate your source code from your deployment. So we're fetching just the Helm part of the source code. Now, this is the key. It populates the skeleton files with the user input. So there's another kind of fetch. So there is the kind of fetch that is plain, and it doesn't change anything in the files that you are getting, you're adding onto your workspace. But this fetch template right here, and I'll explain it later. I think it's in the later slide and what it does. Okay, basically it will take all the files under a directory and it will replace the templating, the values, the variables with the user input. So we're going to see that. So how does this template actually populate those files? Well, it's not just the simple search and replace. It uses something called the nunchucks, and it's a powerful templating language. So on the right-hand side, you have a template file, and you will add this. You will use this repository to populate your end result. So you see something here with the double curly, and you have parameters names. So this is from the user input, and so what it does is with nunchuck, it will replace the name with what the user inputted, which is the chatbot app. So this is how the templating scaffolding works in software templates. So once everything is prepared, curated, all the files are in their workplace, ready to do something about it, so basically it will go alive. Well, now what does that mean? So the template publishes all that code to a brand new repository. In this case, I'm using GitLab, and this is an action from the plugin GitLab. And this is the actual code, and it has all these parameters in here, all these values. It creates a brand new repository and populates. Then the next thing it does, it registers this new component into the catalog, software catalog. So now everybody can see that, hey, I have a new piece of software in the developer hub. And finally, what's really cool is we're connecting to Argo CD, which is another piece of software. Oh, wait a second. My animation's not working. There you go. Okay. So this action here is from Argo CD, and it creates resources. And so what's doing here, it's saying, hey, Argo CD, I have a new application I want to deploy. And the Argo CD says, okay, I see that this is here, and I'm going to deploy it. So as you can see, throughout all these actions, I'm creating a pipeline, a workflow that works every time, and you add the best practice into it. Any questions here? This is... Okay, the process is really fast, we get it, but the impact here goes way beyond just speed. This fundamentally changes the way software developers, platform engineers, operation teams can work together. Let's just pause for a moment. 5 minutes. What used to be multi-weeks of meetings, support tickets, and manual configurations, now it's done in less than 5 minutes. This is not just a very small improvement. This is a massive leap in what we can do. So, the old way. Think back the pain of the old way. It's that constant back and forth between the teams. Every single manual steps was just an opportunity for human error. It took weeks of effort, and because everyone is doing something a little bit different, you end up with all these inconsistent and potential insecure setups. Well, it was a mess. Well, now look at the way, the new way it's working. A developer fills in a form. The deployment is consistent and secure by design, because it follows the rules baked into the template. It's done in minutes, and because every single change started with Git, you have a perfect audit from the very, very beginning. But how do we make that powerful form available in Developer Hub in the first place? Okay. So we are going to do a live demo. This is Developer Hub, and the way to make this piece of software available is what we do is we go to Create, we go to Register, and the URL so this is the repository for the software template. And this is a file we need to URL we need to copy and paste into that registration. But let me go ahead and just talk a little bit about this file. So this is a YAML file, and it's the kind of, sorry, this is not the one. I can't see very well. Let me go back. Well, let me just do it here. Oh. Can't see my cursor. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. Templates. This is the file that I want to talk about. And this is the URL link that we need to add. Okay, so what's happening here is this YAML file, and the kind is location. For example, if you have one software template that you want to add perfectly, you can go in here and add this template. But in this repository, which is super cool, we have 4 AI projects that you can deploy. So with this file, you can add as many templates to deploy. I'm going to come back to this and input the URL. And then really cool, analyze it. So it found 4 software templates. And now I'm going to import it. So this is how you make your templates visible. And now we're going to demo how this software template works by deploying a chatbot. Not just a chatbot, it's a RAG chatbot. We're going to go create again. And now you'll be able to see the that's the one. Okay. I'm going to just use whatever default is there because it's built for this demo. What we're adding here is just the name and the description, and the name is important for Argo CD. Argo CD needs a unique name for every deployment. And you can choose to use GitLab or GitHub for your repository. And the one thing I need to change is this GitLab URL. I need to put in the correct one. Okay. So we're deploying a chatbot, and we're using the model Llama 3. We're using NVIDIA GPUs because there's an option there that you can use CPUs, but we're using GPUs. I'm not going to enable safety because this cluster doesn't have enough power to run 2 inferences. And it just tells you the pipeline to use for the Minio for when you're ingesting data. How come I'm having trouble with my next button here. Uh-oh. Let me see. I'm gonna move it back to here. You can see it better here. And so I'm hitting next. Okay. I'll bring it back to you guys to let you see what's going on. Okay, so I just clicked next because I had a hard time going down the page. So what's really cool is it gives you all the checks to see which steps are you on. And this is the namespace I'm going to deploy the application on. So next. And this is the integration from Argo CD to the Developer Hub. And I'm not going to change this because that's the integration piece. Okay, so now it gives you a review. And now let's go create it. And the error messages here are pretty good. So it tells you if you mess up on one of the steps and you have to retry. Okay, we're going to have to wait for this to create, to deploy because it's going to take a while. So in the meantime, let's go back to the talk. Okay. Whoops. So we're doing the demo. So key takeaways. Okay. The chatbot is spinning up. We're going to look at it in a minute what we're actually going to see. So let's break down the 4 ideas of what makes this whole thing work. Okay. Abstraction. this is about hiding the complexity. Automation, using the actions and provided by the plugins, we can automate every step. And the third takeaway is decoupling. It's separating your source code from your deployment configuration. And the last one, which is the really, really important one, is the scaffolding. This is kind of like the secret sauce of all this. How the templates takes those generic skeleton files and it injects the user input that we just saw. We input a bunch of stuff in literally less than 5 minutes. Dynamically generates a unique, perfect, configured set of files all ready to be run. Okay, so the theory is great, but real goal is here to get you started. This isn't just some interesting study case. It's a blueprint that you can actually follow. And to make it even easier, here's a repository of all of the source code of the template. You can scan it, and it will take you right to the repository. Play with it, use it as a foundation to your own next golden path. And let's go back to the app to see if it's okay. But the ones you don't know, this is OpenShift. This is the cluster management system. I'm just going to go in there and look at to see if it's the project has been deployed. And we deployed in the chatbot namespace. Okay, so it's the first one. Okay, not yet, because it's still taking time. Yeah, we're just waiting for the application to get started. Basically, there's a lot of application that's running behind the scenes. Basically, there's a lot of application running behind the scene. As you can see, the pipeline is for the RAG deployment, and so we have the Llama stack that we're using to deploy the app. Completing. So what we're missing here is the Llama stack is still going. There's a PG vector that's already running. So yeah, this is a very, very intensive application. So let's just give it a few minutes to complete. And thank you very much for your attention. Time. Now I will take some questions. And I'll leave this up for you to digest. Yes?
What are the full stack of tools that you are using in all of your
Yeah, okay. So, of course, oh, yes. So what is the full stack of this deployment? So it's using Kubernetes as the cluster. It's using Llama Stack as the deployment for the A application. It's using PG Vector for the database. It's using Streamlit as the UI. Still deploying. So Llama Stack is what we use in this deployment. And it's using pretty much meta models, large language models. Yes.
This is a process where, oh, sorry, should I hold it?
Yes, please.
So this is a process, instead of using a pipeline where we give an entire pipeline staging from taking the source control management and then building it and then deploying it. Instead of that, we are trying to use software templates. Is that, yes, right?
And yes.
Yes. So in that case, my question is like, if there is a new change in your RAG chatbot, so will it automatically detect the new changes and deploy it again, or are you going to build the software template again if you have a new change?
Yeah, so that's what the Argo comes in, and it's already CD. So whatever's changing in your configuration, the Argo CD will detect it and deploy again. And there is a CI for the documentations. So in the repository, I probably didn't say it, but in the okay, so in the deployment, it built a new source repository, and it also has a GitOps repository. So this is where the deployment is, and the other one is for the source. So whenever you're changing your code, Argo CD picks it right up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So CI starts from the GitHub, right? Your CI starts from the
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's built in. So this is the Argo part. And so this project is continuing to grow. Right now, we have a CI for the documentations, just the documentations, not for like the front end of the app. I'm really interested to see if it's deployed. Thank you for that question. That was very nice. Thank you. Oh, it's up. So now you can ingest documentations, and you can talk to the chatbot. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Yes.
I'm just wondering if you can expand a little more on the software catalog and the role that it plays in all of
Yes.
this.
Thank you for asking for that. Yeah, it's just there's so much here that. Okay, so here is the software catalog. I probably should have showed this earlier, but thank you for asking that. Okay, so this is the part where the software template talks to the software catalog, and it's all done in the code, and this is what you see. So in this view, you can go right to Argo CD, which I didn't show either. Oh man, I wish I could show you this username, admin. And the password. Okay, look at that. It's deploying everything, and this is all the resources. So you can see that right from your software catalog. It takes you there, and it will also tell you what's been deploying your CI, which is the documentation, and your CD is the Argo CD running, and the tech talk. I mean the documentations right here. So there you go. This documentation reflects what's in the source. So whenever source is updating, this will be updated too automatically. Yes. Yes.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so I have a question about the Argo CD instance that's managed by the pipeline. So is the Argo CD instance created by the pipeline itself, or is it already there and you're just connecting to it? Because I can see problems maybe arising if you have multiple Argo instances. So I'm just kind of curious if you can connect to other ones.
Yeah. So in the input, there's a field for Argo instances, and we left it at main, but in your integration with Developer Hub, you can have many Argo CD instances.
Sounds good.
Or are you meaning different applications in one Argo CD?
Yeah, can you connect to another one and put the application within the same Argo CD for this one, or is it just kind of
Do
locked?
both.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to, remember that first page was a unique name, and that's what each application is from. So if we were deploying multiple of these, I will have different applications. So this one, it's Bootstrap, and then the Bootstrap deploys the application itself. So I can actually deploy another instance of this chatbot, but I just have to use chatbot a different name.
Yeah, so that sounds good. So, and also, I guess a follow up then, if you destroy one of the pipelines, will it keep the Argo instance, or will it get deleted along with the pipeline, or is it because there's something else depending on it? Would
Okay,
it
currently
stay?
there's not a destroy plugin in Developer Hub, so you need to work harder on your plugin. The plugin person needs to work harder. So what I do is I go to OpenShift, or you go to Kubernetes, and I destroy the namespace. I have to destroy.
Okay, so you have to manually destroy it.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
even here, when I say delete, it pauses it. It has, I forgot, it has something written in, like the trash collector, it has something to stop it. So, yes. Time over. Thank you so much.